Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about signs because this is something that does come up often, and I know that there are many people who are questioning whether or not what they are experiencing is a twin flame bond or not. And if you are a twin flame, chances are that you might have questioned it too before, and that is because of the intensity of the connection. Sometimes it does feel very surreal. And that's okay if you've questioned it. There isn't anything wrong with that. It's normal. But what it really comes down to is really your own inner knowing. Is what is your soul and your knowing telling you about this connection, about this individual? Because knowing is knowing. It just is. It's consciousness. It isn't something that manifests in physical matter. It's spirit matter. It's just consciousness. But there are certain things that do unfold and certain things that only apply to the twin flame dynamic. Things that are very precise and specific that do not apply to any other type of relationship, which I will talk about later. But that is not to say that soulmates or divine counterparts or other relationships do not experience certain signs or certain things like the dreams and the visions and the telepathy and the similarities and different things like that, but not to the intensity or to the level or to the degree that twin flames experience these things too. But there is something very specifically that happens only within a twin flame dynamic, which I will talk about later. But I just want to also point out that the signs that I'm going to be discussing are not in any specific order. I mean, these things can happen randomly. Some of you may experience some of this, whereas some of you won't. But these are just the most common signs that happen and that unfold within the twin flame dynamic. And so, for twin flames, we are always connected. Always. We've always been energetically conjoined since we were created, or conjoined or paired. But we've always been connected, and we have always felt one another, whether we are aware of it or not. We've always felt our twins. And this applies whether you have your twin in spirit on higher realms, or whether your twin has incarnated with you at this level in terrestrial form. It doesn't matter. We always feel our twins. But I do know that it is common for someone growing up to feel that they are connected to someone. You just have that inner knowing that you're connected to someone and you feel them. This also happened to be my case, in which growing up, I've always known and I've always been consciously aware that there was someone that I was connected to. I didn't know who, I didn't know what. Sorry about that, guys. I was interrupted. But yeah, so I've always had that deep inner knowing that I have always been connected to someone. I didn't know who it was at that time, but I've always had that inner knowing. And so, yeah, so the more and more the twins begin to magnetize towards one another, and the closer and closer they come to one another in the physical, the more things begin to manifest, the more things begin to become played out and laid out, and the more things begin to unfold. And one of the things that is very common, and one of the things that does tend to happen a lot, is that a lot of the times we will, for the sake of preparation for what is to come, a lot of the times we will be presented with a catalyst, not necessarily a karmic situation, but with a catalyst. And this is where the soul contracts come into play in this dynamic, is that a lot of the times it is necessary to experience a catalyst. And this is all for preparation. It's really to help you build tolerance and endurance for the intensity of what you're about to experience, for what is to come, for the intensity of the true twin, your actual twin. And so a lot of times the catalyst will allow you to experience heartache, pain. They will shake your life, just a bit. They will push you further into deeper thinking. It all depends, but it's all for the sake of preparation for the real connection with your twin. So this is very common. And then also too, one of the signs is a lot of twins do dream about and have visions about their twins right before they meet them. Sometimes it's a year in advance, 2 years in advance, or months in advance. It all depends. But dreaming about your twin and having visions about them before meeting them is very common. Also too, feeling an energetic shift, feeling an energetic presence around you. A lot of twins begin to feel their twin before meeting them, and this is because they are beginning to integrate their twin's energy into them in doses, building tolerance for the intensity of the connection with their twin, the intensity of their twin's energy. So you may start to feel your twin before you meet them. And it's all to build tolerance. But when the twin finally shows up, something that is really significant too is that we experience a deep sense of recognition. It is instant. And of course, it's not a recognition that we normally would have in the 3D, in which we look at someone and we say, oh, I know who you are. You look familiar, because they look physically familiar to you. Not necessarily that way. I mean, it may have something to do with that, but it's more of a soul recognition. It is the feeling of coming home. It is the feeling of infinity. It is the feeling of foreverness. It is that instant feeling, that instant recognition. It is coming home, or coming back to your tribe is really what it feels like. And following that, you also get a deep sense of honor and respect and authenticity towards this individual, towards your twin. And that is because it is your soul signature with them. It is your energetic resonance with them. And you have an instant sense of honor and respect and unconditional love for your twin as soon as you meet them. And they don't have to gain it. They don't have to gain the respect, the honor. They don't have to gain your trust. It is automatically given to them. It's a given. It just happens because it just is. Essentially, you are one. You are the same essence. And this is something that all twins go through. Even if you don't have a romantic relationship, all twins experience that instant recognition, even if your twin is not conscious, even if your twin is not awake. And that is because you are essentially one. The souls know. I mean, you guys may not know that you are twin flames when you come across one another. We may not know. But our souls know. Our souls know exactly what is about to happen. Your higher selves know exactly what is about to happen. And they know that the ride has begun. They know, without a doubt. But after meeting your twin, one of the signs is that you also begin to experience a lot of synchronicity. And a lot of twins do experience synchronicity before meeting their twin, which is very common too. But the synchronicities are significant and important because it is what confirms it. They are indications that what you are experiencing is very significant and that you are on the right path. So they are indications of your path. They are indications of the significance of the experience. And so once you get to know your twin and if you start talking to them, you will notice that you will have a lot of similarities and commonalities. You may have significant synchronicities when it comes to just different dates, birthdays, similarities in family structure, family dynamics, the way you've grown up, just different things like that, things you've experienced. You will have parallel experiences. You will also have similar conditions, similar physical conditions, physical ailments, traits, abilities, gifts, personality traits. And that is because you are a unit. You share that same soul essence. And yes, you are individuals and you have your own individuality, but you are the same essence. So in turn, you do share that same union personality. You share that that soul essence personality. And so your union as a whole has a characteristic, which is lovely. It's really a beautiful thing, to be honest with you. And so, yeah, you will have a lot of similarities with your twin also too in the things that you like, your interests. For example, if you have an appreciation for music or for art or for poetry, for nature, for medicine, if you have a passion for comics and just different things like that, you will find that your twin does too. And that is because you mirror one another and you are the same essence. And this is why it becomes very difficult at this point, is because it's very beautiful in the sense that you are in what you call the love bubble. This is the love phase because you not only have you found somebody who you have commonalities and who you have similarities with. You have the same interests, the same goals, the same passions, but you also have that sense of familiarity. You have that sense of coming home, along with feeling that deep soul resonance, which is very fitting to you. It's, and then if you have talked to your twin and you hear their voice, that vibration, that audio signature, that voice signature, that is your entire soul resonance. It is your twin's voice. It is your entire vibration of your soul. It is your frequency, your soul. It's your fitting. So along with all of these things put together, of course, you're in the love bubble, of course. But unfortunately, what happens at this point is that we start to experience disruptions in the connection, which is another sign. After the love bubble, unfortunately, we have to start doing the work, and the journey has begun. And so we start to experience different disruptions in the energy, in the connection, due to the mirroring. And the mirroring, although it can be a lovely thing when it comes to the similarities and the commonalities, it can also be very painful. And that is because of the love that is shared between twins. The mirroring can become very intense. So I'll give you an example. The reason why we trigger our twins so much is because twin flames love each other subconsciously, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's a very deep love. It is unconditional love. And no one else can trigger our twins the way we do, or the way we can. So, for an example, let's say that, I don't know, one day you're talking to your twin and all of a sudden you say to them, gosh, you are so grouchy. You're so grumpy. You're mean. And what'll happen later when your twin is in solace, your words begin to come up. And they start to think to themselves, oh my goodness, am I really that mean? Am I really a grouch? Well, wait a minute, why am I a grouch? Well, I'm a grouch because I was bullied in school. Well, why was I bullied? Well, because I was a nerd. Or because I didn't look the way I was supposed to. And why was I a nerd? Why did I look that way? It's because of my parents and how they treated me. They isolated me. And why did they treat me this way? Oh, it's because of my father's dad. It's because of my grandfather. And it goes really deep into the root. And so your trigger did not only become, an emotional stir, but it became a very deep-rooted emotional barrier that your twin had to experience. It's something that you really rooted out of them. And so they go deep, deep, deep. And this is why the purging can be very intense. This is why a lot of the times, unfortunately, the separation does happen. This is why the separation is very necessary. And a lot of us misconstrue separation with maybe the notion that our twins don't like us. Maybe I'm not attractive enough. Maybe they don't like how I am. Maybe they don't like my personality. Maybe it's because they went off with a soulmate. Maybe it's because they are in that marriage and they can't let go. But it has nothing to do with that. And sure, that's how it's displayed in the 3D. And so for our 3D perspective, we believe that's what it is, but it's not. The higher reason and the true reason as to why our twins run and why we remain in separation is because separation is healing time. It is really that time in which we are recalibrating our energy to balance each other and really become a union. And we have to balance that energy to be able to hold a physical union with one another. It's really our energies balancing, our polarities coming into unification. And it's not easy. It's not easy because some of our purging is very deep, and sometimes it does take time to balance it out. And so the purging can be very, very intense. And then, of course, after we are done balancing at one level, we reunite or we see each other again, and then here we go again with the separation, and it becomes a back and forth thing for a little while. But the thing is, guys, that when it comes to the separation is that something very significant is happening at this point during this phase. And this is what separates a twin flame dynamic versus any other dynamic, is that when it comes to twin flames, when you are going through the healing process, the separation, because the twins, after they meet, especially in the physical, they start undergoing the merging process or the deeper merging where your higher aspects begin to merge. And so at this point, when you are going through the separation, you know that it's a twin flame, not only because you feel it deeply, but because instead of the connection getting weaker with time, it only grows stronger and fonder. It only gets even more powerful. And that is because even though you are across the distance, across the miles, on the other side of the world, although your twin may be married or may not be wanting to talk to you, you are still coming closer and closer together. You are still merging and going through deeper merging. You're not pulling away, you are coming closer. This is a huge indication. This is a huge sign that you are in a twin flame relationship and a twin flame dynamic, is because with time, weeks, months, years can go by, but it only gets stronger and stronger, and you only feel your twin more and more, and that is because you are coming closer and merging deeper. Whereas with another relationship, a soulmate relationship, a karmic relationship, or just someone that you meet and date, although you may have this deep connection with that person, if you ever experience a breakup, it only gets weaker with time. It doesn't grow stronger. It only gets weaker. When it comes to someone who is not your twin, you break up and they go their own way, you go your own way, and yes, it may be difficult at first, but you're okay after that. There's no feeling their energy, there's no sensing their energy, there's no synchronicity, perhaps, maybe, but the connection just lessens. It becomes weaker and weaker and weaker until it just turns off. It has no ignition. It has no power. It has no fuel. It just dies. Whereas with a twin flame relationship, a twin flame connection, it just grows and grows and grows, and it ignites, brighter and brighter and more powerful or more deeper, And that is something that only your twin flame is going to be able to do. Is only your twin flame is going to be a constant connection. Another thing too, only your twin flame is going to ignite your alchemical process for deeper spiritual transformation. No one else is going to do that. You may have a twin flame, a soulmate whom you might love and care for. They may push you to become a better person at the 3D level. They may push you to accomplish things and materialistic things. They may push you to become a better person. But you hit a wall. A twin flame is going to not only push you to become a better person, but anything that has been buried within you, anything that needs to come up to the surface, will be transformed. And not only does your twin flame force you to bring up things that you've buried within yourself, your twin forces you to transmute them. Your twin forces you to heal them. Your twin forces you to heal. That's like the main sign. That is the main indication that you're with a twin flame, is that if your twin is pushing you, if this individual is pushing you to transform yourself, and not just transform yourself for a little while, but for the long run, and somebody who is pushing you to heal, is really where it's at. Other people may push you to try to get you to get rid of your negative tendencies. You may bury them. You may get better at them. You may become less jealous. But they may not necessarily help you heal those tendencies to a degree in which a twin flame can. And so this is how you know. This is really how you know, is if you are with somebody who is really pushing you past your limits, to no limits, really. And so anyway, after you go through this purging and the triggering and the mirroring and different things like that, the synchronicities continue. They continue as confirmation that you are on this path. They become nonstop. Another huge sign is that you have the ability to communicate with your twin via your heart space. You cannot necessarily do this with a soulmate. You can have energetic transfer, but not heart to heart. Not heart to heart, because The heart-to-heart connection, instant connection, is only available to somebody who is conjoined. And only twins are conjoined energetically this way on all levels, through the heart center. And so this is also too why whenever you have the spark to want to do something, to whenever you have that interest, that dream within yourself to do something, your twin will reciprocate that. They will feel the same way about certain things. That is because you share that heart space. And so yeah, and so, you know, along your journey, it just does not stop. It continues. It's a constant. And you continue to have the visions, the dreams become stronger, the visitations from your twin's higher self become stronger. You know, you start to feel your twin's higher self even more. You start to feel your twin's essence in the air. You start to really get to know and build a connection to your twin's higher self in this reality before even meeting or before establishing a physical union. It's really a pretty incredible thing. And you can't make this up. I mean, you just can't make this up. You have to experience it. This is why, to somebody who is not a twin flame, all of this talk seems to be very unbelievable, very surreal. But anybody can talk about twin flames. Anybody can talk about signs and what happens in a twin flame connection. But it takes experience to know what it truly means. So if you are experiencing any of this and it really resonates deeply with you, and you know for a fact that this is your twin because of all of these events, all of these occurrences with the purging and the separation and the love bubble and the similarities and the commonalities, and especially the feeling of deep recognition and the synchronicities and everything, and the imperishable bond itself that just will not subside. It just does not cease. It's inexhaustible. It just is. Then you know that is your twin flame, especially when you have that deep sense of home with them. It's like coming home to your tribe, to your family, to just home. You know, only your twin can give you that. Anybody can feel familiar, but not everybody feels like home. And it's really a big indication of that. And a lot of people, to be honest, sometimes I talk to people who misconstrue different experiences with being a twin flame dynamic, and it's not. It isn't just about having synchronicities or having a deep connection with someone. That's not enough. It's not only about having dreams of this person or seeing their name everywhere. It's not just about being in love with them. It's not just about breaking up and coming together and breaking up and coming together. That is unhealthy. It may not necessarily be a twin flame. That's not an indication that it is a twin flame. Those things happen with any relationship. But the difference between the separation and coming back to each other over and over again is that when it is your twin flame, it is healthy because you are purging things out and you are healing them. When it is a soulmate or just someone who is not a twin flame, if you keep doing this back and forth thing, that is not healthy. It's not healthy because it's only stressing you out, but you're not healing from it. I mean, you may purge and become triggered, but it's not deeply healing you, and so you do have to just let people go sometimes. You just have to. But it's very different when it comes to your twin flame, because your twin flame is, the energy behind it is in such that it is ultimately healing you. It is healing you. And it's not hurting you. It is healing you. your twin flame on a soul level will never heal you. Well, I'm sorry, will never hurt you. And that's not to say that some twins don't have karma or some twins don't hurt each other in the physical, because they do. But on a soul level, they never will. They never will. And if your twin flame is hurting you intentionally and really, really hurting you, you got to look into that, because that maybe your twin is suffering from an attachment or an attack or manipulation, because your twin will never hurt you, ladies and gentlemen. Never. Not intentionally. No, it's impossible. That's not part of the dynamic at all. But that's all I really wanted to talk about, guys. I know this, I can get really passionate with this, but just really evaluate your situation, and don't forget to ever consult with your guides and your team and with source directly, as long as you are doing it from a conscious space and an authentic space in which you really are in dire need of some answers. Don't underestimate the power of prayer, the power to consult your own team, because you will be given the answers. And whoever does not belong in your life will make it their way out of it, one way or another. Always remember that. So I just want to wish you guys the best. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I just want to say too, though, that if you do send an email, I know some of you have sent me emails and I haven't been able to respond. And that isn't because I don't want to respond. It is because when an email is very long, it's just because of the nature of time. I cannot read it and then reply to it. But just please understand that if you sent an email, more than likely I read it. If it's very, very long, I just can't do it, guys. So the shorter the email, the better. And that's really how it works. I have no choice. But hang in there, everybody. I will speak to you soon. Bye, everybody.